Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. It's been a fairly slow week coming off of the long holiday weekend. Volume is low. The broader market range is very low. Some individual names certainly have a lot of volatility, but in general, that means to me, slow down your trading. So there are opportunities out there. We'll point out some of the more volatile sectors, and they have some potential oversold bounces to be shaping up. Other than that, we'll check in on where we stand with everything. So starting with a look into our futures charts, we see the S&P 500 futures chart held the 4-hour high or low. First thing this morning, support hold, and here we are testing the all-time high resistance. If we do not lose the 4-hour high or lows, we're not going to see any consolidation. We can say the same thing about SPY. If we do not lose the pattern of a high or low every day, we are not going to see daily consolidation. Look at the volume the last 2 days and the range. This is the tightest 2-day period that you will find on SPY anytime recently in many months. And what that tells me is trade less. And that means there's less opportunity. Again, there's individual names that have a lot of volatility, but the broader market as a whole does not. And you can see that very early on. In the first half hour of trading, I can look at the daily chart and say, okay, daily volume is declining 4 days in a row. Well, to start the morning, 3 days in a row. What was our morning volume yesterday on a low volume day? The first half hour, it was 5.4 million shares traded. Today, we traded 4.1 million. So we're looking at 20% less volume compared to a low volume day. So in the first half hour of trading today, I was able to say it's going to be a low volume day, most likely, unless things drastically change. So extremely tight range, extremely low volume. Watch for a volume and volatility spike in the short term. And again, have to see a break of the pattern of a higher low every day for any daily consolidation. So tomorrow, if 405.40 holds, the bulls keep complete control. If it breaks, daily consolidation starts. The NASDAQ futures chart broke 4-hour support, but only in the first 5-minute, no, I don't think it was the first 5-minute candle. Only first thing in the morning. No, it was. The first 5-minute candle broke it, and then there's your V-shaped new high of the day, which, what does that mean? It means it is a daily potential bull flag. Daily consolidation has started, but no bear follow-through means potential daily bull flag. So bottom line is, the bulls are keeping their complete control overall. Had a nice setup in QQQ today. Just go over a little trade review. So hit the high of the day. What's the most likely scenario from there on consolidation? Dropping to a new low of the day or setting an hourly high or low compared to 329.37? For me, I'm looking for an hourly high or low compared to the low of the day. So I then zoom in and recognize a bullish pattern that I am familiar with. That bullish pattern was a 2-minute falling wedge. So again, bigger picture, most likely scenario, hourly high or low. And then if I have a bullish pattern on the shorter term time frames forming while looking for a longer term time frame, most likely scenario, that increases my conviction. So we then broke this pattern bullish and hit a new high of the day. So I didn't play QQQ on this break, but I did play an NIO oversold bounce, and this chart gave me confidence to do so. One other thing on the NASDAQ 100 to be watching, broadening wedges. So look at this. Let's go to the half hour, get a little bit more detail. Broadening wedges are marked by lower lows with no follow through straight into higher highs with no follow through. Again, until you get familiar with recognizing them, it's a great way to get really frustrated. So I'm keeping an eye on this in the shorter term, and I didn't trust the bulls at the end of the day because of this resistance level. And we did pull back a bit into the end of the day. So short term, broadening wedge on watch. Longer term, potential daily bull flag on watch. IWM, daily consolidation very significantly underway. And again, condensing it down to the 2-day time frame, a lower high compared to 234.53 is not surprising. We knew that was the most likely scenario. And now it's up to the bulls to form a higher low compared to the double bottom with 208.03 as that support level. Hourly RSI on IWM is getting oversold, but it's not leading to much upside right now. And again, You can look at the daily as well. Plenty of space for a daily high or low. Anything above 212, make that 213.14. So bulls need to set up an hourly trend change back in their favor for a daily high or low to form. Financial sector, bulls keeping control. We are just under the all-time high. 34.92 and 35.29 are the only resistances. And for me, I would need to see a break of 34 for a weekly lower high to be shaping up. It's a weekly bull flag right now. If 34 support breaks, the odds of a weekly bull flag will decrease a bit, and that would get my attention, saying, pay attention, it might be a failure to break the all-time high. But if 34 is holding, nothing to worry about as a bull. XLV, tightening up. High of the bull move, daily high or low, lower high, and now holding support. The most important levels to me are 116 support and 117.69 resistance. If we break 116, we confirm a daily downtrend, which means zoom out and scout a weekly high or low. But it would be notable, XLV healthcare hasn't had a whole lot of impact on the broader market the last 6 days. But if we were to break this bearish, it would just be another little point in favor of bears and another point in favor of S&P 500 daily consolidation, which we know is due. Biotech sector, weakness all day today. So the names that need bulls to prove it. We went in, I don't know if it was yesterday's video or Monday, but I was talking about the sectors that still have the burden of proof on the bulls. Because tech, S&P 500, they're all just fine. The burden of proof is on the bears. The burden of proof is on the bulls, biotech, electric vehicles, MJ, solar. These 4 sectors, metals, bulls have to prove it. XBI is not proving it. Closing at the low of the day 2 days in a row. Hourly RSI is oversold. But no sign of the bulls. If we gap down tomorrow, I will absolutely be watching for a potential bottom fishing play off of 126.26 with how crushed that hourly RSI already is. So bulls would have to hold 126.26 and break 139.81 if they're going to prove anything to us. And we are much closer to support than we are to resistance. But I do believe, at least initially, we will hold 126, at least for a short-term bounce. But again, be skeptical of bulls on every sector that is not proving it, because what happens on these weak sectors when the S&P 500 pulls back? They are not positioned well at all to absorb any daily consolidation in the S&P 500. SMH, daily bull flag attempt as well. Pulled back yesterday, inside bar today. If the inside bar breaks bullish tomorrow, odds of a daily bull flag increase. If we break bearish, we're still looking for a daily high or low, but the odds of a daily bull flag will decrease a bit. But overall, no red flags on QQQ nor SMH with the daily consolidation we're currently seeing. We'll talk about EVs in a second. TAN is still weak. One of the sectors where the bulls have to prove it. Have to hold 8107 and break 9424 if we're going to prove anything. And this is a name where you condense it to the 2-day time frame, and it's very clear. Have to hold that low to try and remain in an equilibrium. 8107 must hold support. And we're still over 5% above that level, so it is possible we trade within this tightening range into next week. MSOS, still weak. Trimmed position. I had a bad add-on today. Added this morning. Small positions. So I'm trading with very small positions on this name because number one, it's a swing position, and number two, the bulls aren't proving it. Just made a couple little nibbles, and really what it was is I played the oversold bounce. I had a decent little gain there. I sold into the strength, and now I'm just adding that position back, but did so with a poor entry today. We broke the high of yesterday by 5 pennies, but pretty much a double top. And so by the end of the day, I trimmed up that position again, just ate that small loss because bulls aren't proving it. And the last thing I'm going to do is hold that position, dropping to a lower low. Then I'm a bag holder, and we never want to be bag holders. So again, same thing. The bulls have to hold the low of 38.80 and break 44.68 to prove anything to us. EV names, watching for bounces tomorrow. Tesla, Equilibrium on the daily is clear today if it's not clear to you. Low, high, higher low, lower high. Anything above 591 is a higher low. Bulls have over 10% of space to work with. The higher low is the most likely scenario, but there's no sign of it yet. So I want to see a gap down open into hourly oversold conditions to be looking for a bounce play. But other than that, I need to see an hourly trend change set up, which means I need a big enough bounce on the hourly to anticipate a higher low is then the most likely scenario to make an entry off of, put a stop below the low at that point, hope for the hourly trend change to set the daily higher low. If I'm looking for a bullish entry, that's my game plan. But again, we're not proving it, and NIO is even weaker. NIO is certainly one of the names that had the volatility today, where we saw from the high of the day, big time drop, 6% drop, and then from the low of the day, there was a decent bounce. I traded that oversold bounce and only got 1% or so, but I'll take it. It ended up bouncing 1.5%, and then closed very weak. So hourly RSI is crushed, and again, I would love a gap down open, and the bulls are looking for a play off of $34 support, but the bulls have proven absolutely nothing on this chart anytime in the last 6+ weeks. What happens to these sectors if SPY pulls back for a couple days? Keep that in the back of your mind, because you're looking at these charts in a vacuum and you're saying, okay, NIO is really beat up. We're due for a bounce. Well, what if that hourly RSI goes into the teens because SPY pulls back and has a 0.5% red day? Just be cautious on names that aren't proving anything. As I said in yesterday's video, I'm absolutely watching for profits to rotate around and for correlations to shift, but obviously today there was no sign of that whatsoever. And trading with the direction of the correlation certainly would have been more beneficial. I did make a bearish entry attempt on Tesla today, and I was just one attempt too early. 2-minute time frame. Bullish morning started. So what am I doing? I'm looking to top fish a 2-minute lower high. I made my bearish entry, put my stop over the high of the day. 2-minute support that needed to break was 686.33, and we held it. As soon as it held, I exited half my position for tiny profit, and then I stopped out for the rest for a small loss. And then the exact same trade that I was looking for took place and followed through. So that's one of the ones where I just shake my head and say, just missed, because it was the exact same trade setup, and had I just waited a little bit longer and made the attempt there, then it would have worked in a big way. So a little bit of a lesson, and again, my mistakes will be leaving money on the table as opposed to losing notable money. We'll get them next time. That's the mindset. Small loss today, make it back, and then some tomorrow. The VIX. Weak. Inside bar bearing breaks. Inside bars breaking bear. And again, a little bit of hedging going on the past couple of days, but sectors all remaining strong. So fresh lows, many month lows, multi-year lows. 1340, the next level. And again, not even setting a daily lower high. I still consider anything under 2180 a daily lower high next time we bounce. Dollar is leveling out a little bit, trying to start a daily bounce here. Again, size of the pullback will now have us watching for a daily lower high compared to the top of the bounce to be the more likely scenario here. But a 4-hour bear flag confirming straight into a resistance break means watch for a daily bounce to start to take shape. We also know the metals are due for daily consolidation. We haven't changed the daily trend here. Gold is coming right up on resistance. 4-hour uptrend is still intact, but we started this morning with a big enough pullback where during the live stream I said I'm watching for a 4-hour lower high to be the most likely scenario, and I exited some of my metals swing positions to lock in, well, I guess it's not profit because the positions that I had were red, the positions that I added were green. Overall, probably still a little bit red at this point. But I exited some of those positions to free up cash. Number one, I don't want my account to drop significantly when the inevitable daily consolidation begins. And number two, I want cash available to buy a daily high or low if I like what the setup looks like. So when we lose the 4-hour uptrend, when we lose the pattern of a higher low every day, we look for a higher low on the daily, and then we are just as skeptical of these bulls as all of our other weak sector bulls, which are not proving it because the metals are not proving it until we confirm a daily trend change. And silver is the exact same thing. Didn't even realize, I keep forgetting about this 12-hour falling wedge, but I exited silver. I exited more silver than gold, as gold has been a bit stronger recently. But if we reject from this level, and again, all I'll do is just tweak my line a little bit if I have to, but then we're going to look for a pullback and a higher low because the bulls must confirm a daily trend change for the first time in a few weeks to see any kind of bull follow through. Miners. Daily consolidation underway. Again, weekly bull break, but we knew not to get too excited about it. We're not going to get excited about it unless the bulls in the metals change the daily trend. We are scouting a daily higher low with tons of space for it to form. All about the metals, though, because we know these miners are not going to see weekly trend change follow through if the metals do not change their daily trends bullish. Oil is still extremely choppy for me. I like this 4-hour. I keep forgetting about charts I do in these daily videos. Inventory report day today. This 4-hour time frame certainly still valid. And we'll see how that breaks. But overall, no, we'll just stick with that. Because overall, the levels I care about are 62.27 resistance and 57.25 support. But we will break this pattern first. And then we'll need to break one of those two levels to confirm follow through. Natural gas, bear flag on the weekly confirmed, but a lack of follow through. If we see another green day tomorrow, it'll be a notable lack of bear follow through on this break. The most important resistance will remain 2655. And the bulls need a 4-hour trend change in their favor. Inverse head and shoulders potential. But they have to prove it. So tomorrow, I'll be watching for potential weakness. Canadian MJ is extremely weak as well. APHA closing the day with a bear break and hourly RSI down at 21. So if we gap down on EV names or on Canadian MJ names, I'm watching for gap down oversold bounces. And again, just for a little day trade win, if I want to look bigger picture, let's say I want to try for a Tesla daily high or low, my style would be if we gap down open, I play the oversold bounce. Ideally, let's say I make an entry on a gap down open at 660. We bounce to 670. I sell half. I put my stop at 650. And then I try and allow the bulls time to prove an hourly trend change and get follow through, having very little risk, if any risk, on that trade. But for me personally, I generally just lock in the gains on the initial bounce, knowing that I probably don't want to swing the position. But overall, some higher lows to be watching on the daily time frames of these weaker sectors, but very aware that SPY is not pulling back and they are still pretty darn weak. And they can get weaker if SPY starts to add to that downward pressure. I hope you are well. Don't forget to do good things. And we will see you tomorrow.